So what I'm thinking of doing to solve the problem of the Chud press, these hinges often get too tight or too loose, and the press wants to fall down, either wants to fall down on top of the food where you don't want it to, or it's so stiff that the whole thing wants to lift up off the ground. So I found that I had to adjust these nuts right here, and it's inconvenient, and I would like to be able to solve this problem permanently. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to cut off some of the steel right here. I'm going to leave just the very edge. But I'm going to cut off the steel, and I'm hoping that this thing will be tall enough where it won't want to fall forward. It'll be balanced enough so it won't fall forward. And if it still isn't right, I can also take a little bit of steel right off this thing right here to allow it to move as far as possible so that it's completely upright, since all the weight is here. And even if I had these things, I'll show you. Right now I've got it set up to make a cabana, but you put this in here like this, and so that I'm hoping that once I grind that steel off and I bring it up like this, it'll be far enough back, well, it won't want to fall forward. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to grind the steel off here and on the other side too, and we'll see what happens. All right, I'm back. I'm going to call this a success. I was able to grind and cut some of the contacts here on this Chud press. I cut this off right here. I made two cuts, one like this and one like this, and then I ground it down further. And same thing on the other side. And then over here, I ground down just a straight grinder with my angle grinder. Ground that down, and so now it behaves significantly better. Right now I've got both these nuts loose, so there's no friction here. So if I lift it up, it wants to fall. But it just barely wants to fall. It's almost standing up on its own. I could have ground that down a little bit more, but I was running out of steel there, and by tightening the nuts just a little bit, I think that'll completely resolve my problem. I think I can just take my fingers here and go like this and see if that makes a difference. Oh yeah, see, now it's standing on its own. All I did was use my fingers to tighten that. By the way, I'm going to tighten that more, of course, but my point is the problem is resolved. I've got here a 1/2 inch box wrench and a 7/16 box wrench, and these are perfect for this Chud press, for the hinge here. You know, if you're having problems with your hinge staying loose or getting too tight, these wrenches are what you want, because these are perfect. They're skinny enough to fit in there, and they don't get in each other's way. And look at this thing, it's so loose, and yet it still stood up. If you contact the Chud press people and you ask nicely, they might send you a pair of these for free, or they'll at least tell you where to get them. So I would recommend that you pick up a couple box wrenches there. So I think I'm all set. Thanks for watching. I wanted to show you how this thing opens. It opens very nicely now. You can see the mod I did here. I cut that down, that little tip right here. I ground off some of the steel there, and on this end, Might be hard to see, but let's see, right here, I ground this down right here so that it'll open wider. This thing will open wider. I'll show you the other side. You can see that piece there, which I ground down right here, and then up here, I also ground that down. I took off some of that, I cut that. And so now it opens almost vertical. I'll show you how easily this opens. I can just put my finger here and open it, and it opens wide up, right up. And if you look at it from the side, the handle's basically vertical. There's a little bit of forward weight. So if there was no tension here in these jam nuts on either side, then it would fall forward. But all you need is a little bit of tension using the jam nuts on the hinge there, and the whole thing works much better. It completely solves the problem of these nuts becoming too loose or too tight. All you got to do is grind that down. It takes 3 or 4 minutes to grind that piece and that piece, and shazam, it works great. And now as far as the weight, there is more weight here on this press because there's less tension in the hinge. So there's going to be more weight, but that can easily be resolved with this piece, which I made and I discussed in another video. I'm going to do this with my right hand. You can lift this up. This can be hard. I'm going to put this down like this. And you can look at the other video, but it's a simple matter to just slide this thing like this, and it'll hold at whatever height you need it. If you need it to hold up here, that's fine. If you need it down here, that's fine. And it'll obviously it'll press in at whatever height you want. So you're not missing the press. You're just reducing the weight of the top press. So really great mod. I love it. Just grind down that hinge piece over here and use this bolt deal with the head and the nut, and it'll work great. I really love it. Thanks for watching.